Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Master Duel Witchcrafter deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because we just got some amazing support in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel out of the most recent selection pack for this deck, giving us an awesome new boss monster, Witchcrafter Vice Madam. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description down below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name scratched in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing a single copy of Witchcrafter Madam Veer. This card is a definite one-of in the deck and is an absolutely insane boss monster that during damage calculation, if your spellcaster monster battles an opponent's monster, quick effect, you can reveal any number of spell cards with different names in your hand, and if you do, your battling monster gains 1,000 attack and defense for each card revealed until the end of the turn, which is a crazy powerful effect to make your Witchcrafter monsters absolutely massive. That is a crazy powerful effect. She also has a quick effect that you can discard a spell card to negate the effects of all face-up monsters that your opponent currently controls until the end of the turn, which is basically like a cold wave effect, but you can only use each effect of this card once per turn. We then play a single copy of Witchcrafter Golem Aruru. Golem Aruru is a awesome hand trap in this deck that's just going to give you a lot of protection in this particular deck, that when your opponent activates a card effect that targets a spellcaster monsters that you control, or targets it for an attack, quick effect, you can target one card that your opponent controls, or a Witchcrafter spell in the graveyard, special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, return the targeted card back to the hand, which is an awesome effect. And you can even use this card over and over again, as it actually bounces itself back to your hand during your opponent's standby phase, which is a really cool effect. We then play a single copy of Witchcrafter Hane. Witchcrafter Hane is really good as a one-of in the deck because this card gives you a little bit of protection as your opponent cannot target other spellcaster monsters you control with card effects, and quick effects, you can discard a spell card and then target one face-up card your opponent controls and destroy it, which is awesome that it's a quick effect, but it is a once per turn. We then play 3 copies of Witchcrafter Shemeta. Shemeta is one of the best normal summons in the entire deck and one of the best cards in the entire build because she has the ability that during the main phase, quick effect, you can tribute this card and then discard a spell card, special summon out a Witchcrafter monster from your deck, except another copy of this card, which all of your main deck Witchcrafter monsters that are level 4 and lower actually share that ability, which makes it really easy to summon out your high level ones like Madam Veer or your copy of Hane. But this card is a really good graveyard effect that you can banish this card from your graveyard and then send a Witchcrafter card from your deck to the grave, except another copy of this card, which is a great effect. We then play a single copy of Patori. Patori is a good one-of in the deck, but you only need a single copy of this card. She has a great graveyard effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard, draw a card, and then send one Witchcrafter card from your hand to the graveyard, or if you have none, you banish your entire hand. So you better have a Witchcrafter card in your hand, or you're going to lose your entire hand, which is a real big downside to this card. We then play 3 copies of Witchcrafter Jenny. Jenny is a definite 3-of in this particular build because it has the ability you can banish this card and a Witchcrafter spell from the graveyard, and then you copy the effect of that spell card when it was activated, which is a really good effect. You can basically copy any effect of your Witchcrafter spell cards, which is just so powerful about this card. We then play 2 copies of Magician's Souls. Magician's Souls is a definite 2-of in this particular build. It lets you send up to 2 spells and traps from your hand or field to the graveyard to draw that many cards, which is great in this particular build. And it also has the ability you can send a level 6 or higher spellcaster monster from your deck to the graveyard to activate one of these effects, which you're always going to use the special summon this card by this effect, which is just a great effect to be able to use with this card. We then play a single copy of Illusion of Chaos. This card is searchable in the deck, which is why we're just playing a single copy of this card. It's really good because you basically reveal this card in your hand to add a Magician's Souls from your deck to your hand, and then you place a card from your hand on top of your deck, which is usually going to be the Illusion of Chaos, that you're then going to use the effect of Magician's Souls to send to the graveyard to special summon itself, which is just so powerful in this particular build. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start off with a single copy of Witchcrafter by Street. By Street's a really good one-of in this deck and just helps out a lot to give your Witchcrafter some bonus effects. The first time each Witchcrafter monster you control would be destroyed each turn by a battle back artifact, it is not destroyed, which is just such a good effect to be able to use with this card. And if a Witchcrafter monster you control would discard to activate an effect, you can send this card from the field to the graveyard instead. And during your end phase, if this card that you control, or if you control a Witchcrafter monster while this card's in the graveyard, then you can place this card face up in your spell and trap card zone, which is such a powerful effect, and you can only use one of those effects per turn. We then play a single copy of Witchcrafter Draping. Witchcrafter Draping is a really good one-of in this particular build. It lets you target spells and traps your opponent controls up to the number of Witchcrafter monsters that you control and return those target cards back to the hand. And all of your Witchcrafter spells actually share a common effect in this deck, that during your end phase, if you control a Witchcrafter monster, while this card's in your graveyard, you can add this card back to your hand, but you can only use one effect of this card per turn. You can either activate its activated effect, or you can grab it back from the graveyard if you didn't use its activated effect, which is just a really awesome thing about these cards, that you can use them over and over again. We then play a single copy of Witchcrafter Collaboration. Collaboration is a really good one-of in this deck. It lets you target a Witchcrafter monster you control and make it have a second attack during each battle phase this turn. Also, if it attacks this turn, your opponent cannot activate spells or traps until the end of the damage step, which is a pretty good effect. But you're also playing this card because it's an additional name in the deck to be able to use with your copy of your Madame Veer. We then play a single copy of Witchcrafter Unveiling. Witchcrafter Unveiling is a good one-of. It lets you special summon a Witchcrafter monster from your hand, and if you do, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation of your spellcaster monster's effects for the rest of the turn, which is a crazy powerful effect to be able to use with this card. We then play 3 copies of the new fusion spell, which is Witchcrafter Confusion Confession. This card helps us fusion summon into our copy of Vice Madam, which is just so good in this deck to be able to summon out our copy of our Vice Madam. We then play 3 copies of Witchcrafter Creation. Witchcrafter Creation is a definite 3-of in the deck. That's actually the searcher for the deck. Lets you add a Witchcrafter monster from your deck to your hand. We then play 3 copies of Witchcrafter Holiday. Holiday is a definite 3 in the deck. This card is actually the monster reborn for your Witchcrafters, which is so good. It lets you target a Witchcrafter monster in the grave and special summon it. We then play 2 copies of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is a definite 2-of just to stop your opponent's hand traps. This card is insane that it's at 2 in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and I absolutely love this card as stopping cards like Max C and Ash Blossom in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. We're then playing 2 copies of Preparation of Rites. Preparation of Rites is really good in this deck because it lets you add a level 7 or lower ritual monster from your deck to your hand, which is always going to be Illusion of Chaos that you're actually grabbing off this card's effect. We then play 2 copies of Magicalized Fusion. This card is great in the deck to let you fusion summon a spellcaster fusion monster from your extract by banishing materials from your field or graveyard, making it super easy to make Vice Madam. We then play 3 copies of Reasoning. Reasoning is insane that this card is actually at 3 in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, because there's a lot of ways that you can actually build Witchcrafter in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. You can build a 60 card version that uses that grass, but you can actually build a 40 card version like this by using Reasoning, which is super cool to be able to use this card because it's going to help you dump a bunch of different cards into the graveyard while also getting you a special summon, which is really nice because you play so many different levels in the deck. It says your opponent declares a monster's level and excavates cards from the top of your deck, and then until you excavate a monster that you can normal summon or set. If it's not the level of the that your opponent declared, you get to special summon out that monster to your side of the field. So for example, if our opponent calls 4 and I reveal Jenny on the 6th or 7th card, I actually special summon Jenny to my side of the field. But if they called 4 and I reveal Shemeta, that's a level 4, it gets sent to the grave. But that's totally fine because all of our different Witchcrafter monsters have graveyard effects, which is so good about this card. I love this card that this card is actually a 3 in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel because you also send the remaining cards to the graveyard, which is really nice to work with any of our Witchcrafter spells because they actually go off during the end phase to add them back to the hand. So this card is almost like a massive search in the deck. This card is so good in this build. We're then playing a single copy of Magician's Left Hand. Magician's Left Hand is really good because it negates the effect of the first trap card that your opponent activates while you control a spellcaster. 1 copy of Magician's Right Hand, which negates the first spell card that your opponent activates each turn while you control a spellcaster monster. And then we play 3 copies of Magician's Restage, which is a definite 3 of the build because you can target a level 3 or lower spellcaster monster in your graveyard and special summon it. But the big effect of this card is that if this card is sent to the graveyard, then you can add a Magician continuous spell from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect to be able to search out these cards if it does touch the grave, which is just so good. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Witchcrafter Vice Madam, which is the new card that we just got out of the selection pack for our boss monster. This card is so powerful and so insane. It's so easy to summon to our side of the field because it just takes a Witchcrafter monster plus a Spellcaster monster. And when a spell card or effect or a non-fusion Spellcaster monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can activate one of these effects, and you can activate all 3 effects per turn, but not in the same chain. And you can activate the same effect again that turn. But it's really cool because it has the ability to destroy 1 card on the field, special summon a level 6 or lower Witchcrafter monster from your hand or deck, or add a Witchcrafter spell trap from your graveyard or your hand. I love that about this card, that you can just activate all these effects in the same exact turn. That is so good that this card has 3 insanely powerful effects, and this card is a definite 3 of in the deck. We then play a single copy of Quintet Magician. Quintet is so good and so easy to summon to our side of the field. There's really so many different names in this deck, and this card, once it touches the field, you pretty much win the game. We then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code is just really good in this deck at popping multiple cards on the field. It comes out absolutely massive, and it's very easy to summon in this deck. We then play a single copy of Nightmare Unicorn to spin stuff. 1 copy of Celine, because we are playing spellcasters. This card is very easy to put on our side of the field, especially with cards like Reasoning. Dumping multiple spell cards to the graveyard, you can easily get multiple counters on this card and bring back cards from your grave. We then play a single copy of Nightmare Phoenix to pop spells and traps. 1 copy of the Dark Charmer because we play Magician Souls in the deck, and it helps us climb into a copy of Celine, and in turn, a copy of Access Code. We play a single copy of the Fire Charmer. Fire Charmer is really good because we can actually bring back Ash Blossom with this from our opponent, which is really good to be able to use in this deck, and it's very easy to pull off because we do play Shemetta, which is a fire monster. We then play a single copy of IP Masquerade to be able to make the copy of our Unicorn during the opponent's turn. 1 copy of Cross Sheep because we do fusion summon in this deck quite a lot, so this card helps us out a lot to be able to special summon a level 4 or lower monster from our graveyard back to our side of the field. We then play a single copy of Artemis, which works on pretty much any spellcaster deck that has level 4 or lower spellcasters. This card helps us get our monsters in the grave so we can use their grave effects if we don't have a spell to be able to discard to activate their first effect. We then play a single copy of Link Rebo because Ginny and our copy of Magician Souls is level 1. And then finally a single copy of Relinquished Anima, which is a spellcaster type monster and is super good at gobbling up your opponent's monsters. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Witchcrafter deck before in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, now is the perfect time now that we just got Vice Madam. Vice Madam is so good in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel and such a fun card to be able to make because you can activate all 3 of those effects in the same turn, which is just so good. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.